Hello students. Today's lesson is called Graphing Inequalities in Two Variables. The two variables would mean that you have an x and a y in your inequality. And that's going to create a diagonal line when you graph it. First thing you want to make sure is that your inequality is in the form of y equals mx plus b. That's how we graph lines. The first one we're looking at right here is in the y equals mx plus b form. Instead of an equal sign, though, you have your inequality symbol. So you're going to graph it just like you would a regular line and ignore the inequality symbol first. So you're going to start with your y-intercept, which is p. You'll go up on the y to a positive 3 and put your first dot. Then you'll look at your slope, which is a positive 1 that's in front of the x. So we will go up 1 over 1. Up 1 over 1, and continue that. And I'm going to do this all the way down, and you'll see why in a minute. I'm going to cover my whole graph with the line. Now, before we draw our line through it, now you have to look at your inequality symbol. If there's not a bar under it that means or equal to, that simply means. Alright, so since the bar or equal to bar is missing, we're going to create a dash line because this line does not include the dots that are on the line. So it has to be a dash line. Then you have to shade either the top half of the line or the bottom half of the grid, either below the line or above the line, because this inequality has an unlimited number of solutions to it. How you tell is you're going to use a test dot. We're going to use 0, 0 right here. And we're going to plug it into this inequality and see if it's true. So you're going to put a 0 here, greater than 0 plus 3. 0, 0 in for x and y. Work it out. Is 0 greater than 3? And if it's not true, you shade the side that does not have 0, 0 in it, which would be this side. Every dot that's in this section of the graph is in a solution to that inequality. Any dot below it is not a solution. It would not make it true. So we shade above it. Now I'm going to show you another way to do that, because I don't always use the test dot. I look at my inequality symbol. It says greater than. If my symbol says greater than, I'm shading above the line, on the top half of the line, because that's greater than. And that's how I know that's the answer. But if you ever get confused or not sure, use the 0, 0 to test it. We're going to do another one. Fall off of here. Bring in another one. Let's do this one this time. As you can see, it is not in slope-intercept form, so we have to solve for y and put it in that form. We'll start by adding 2x to both sides. Adding 2x. We will be left with y greater than or equal to positive 2x minus 4. Now we can graph. Start with your y-intercept right here, which is a negative 4. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, put a dot. Then I'll apply my slope of positive 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Keep on doing this all the way up, and then all the way down, so on. Now we're going to look at our inequality. Is there a bar under it? If there is, that means equal to, so I'm going to make it a solid line this time. Arrow on each end. Now I'm going to look, it says greater than. The top half of my line is the majority of this grid. I'm not going to I'm not going to shade over here because this is below the line. This is kind of like the bottom half. And I don't want to use that because it says greater than. So I want to use the top half. But to prove this is the right half, we're going to use our test point again. Let me show you how that works. I want you to use the test point in your original inequality. So you're going to put negative 2 times 0 plus 0 greater than or equal to negative 4. Negative 2 times 0 is 0 plus 0. So you end up with 0 greater than or equal to negative 4. And is that a true statement? It is, because 0 is always bigger than the negative. That means this is one of the solutions. So it's definitely this side that we shade. And you're finished with that one. Now, the same would be true if it's a less than. Ink off here. Switch around to one that's less than or equal to. And let's just see how this works. Solving for y, first we'll subtract our 10x. We'll be left with 2y less than or equal to negative 10x plus 14. We'll divide by 2. Everything on the other side divided by 2. These are gone, leaving y less than or equal to negative 5x plus 7. Now we're going to go over here to positive 7. Y-intercept, negative 5 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 5. Not left 1, sorry, positive 1. Down 5. And then right. This has a negative slope. We can't go up. Run over it. No, wait a minute. I'm bouncing all off. No, they're not. It just looks funny when I'm standing on the side. Draw our line. This has a very, very steep slope. Now, do we draw a solid line or a dotted line? Look at our inequality. It's an underline, so we draw a solid line. Straight up through here. It's just a really steep line, so it looked crooked for a minute. Next, we look at our inequalities. It is less than. So we're gonna shade on the bottom side of this line. If you're not sure if it's a real steep line like this, you're not sure which side is the bottom side, use your test point. So we're gonna use the 0, 0. This should be the bottom side. So we're gonna plug our 0 and 0 in. See if we're right. That's the side we shade. So 10 times 0 plus 2 times 0 less than or equal to 14. You come out with 0 less than or equal to 14. And that is a true statement. So this is the side we shade, which is underneath the line in a way, less than. And that one's now graphed. Let's go on to the next section now. Sometimes you're going to have them where they only have one variable, like just a y or just an x. In this situation, you're going to solve for x. So we'll subtract 1 from both sides. You'll be left with 7x is less than 14. Divide by your 7, you get x is less than 2. And if you'll remember, when you have like x is equal to 2, that's just a vertical line. So you'll go to the x-axis, we'll go to positive 2, put a dot, and we know this is going to be a vertical line. It will be dashed because there's not a bar under our inequality symbol right here. So we will make a dashed vertical line that crosses the x at positive 2. Then it says less than, so we are going to shade the left side of positive 2. Because here are all the solutions to this inequality. It can be any point on this side. Any point you want to use would make this inequality. inequality true. And you can test it by using 0, 0 to find out. Let's do another one. This one out of the way. You're going to have some that end in fractions. Let's do one of those to show you how that works out. Start out by adding 21. And you're going to get 4y greater than 22. Divide by 4. You're going to end up with y is greater than. Change this to a mixed number so it'll be easier to graph. 4 goes into 22 5 whole times with 2 fourths left, which is the same as 1/2. So it's y is greater than 5 1/2. So this time we go to the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1/2. Put our dot here. And since it's crossing the y, it's going to be a horizontal line. And it also does not have the bar, so it's another dashed horizontal line. It goes through the halfway. And then we're going to look, it says greater than, so it's going to be on top of the line. This will be the section that's shaded. And if you're not certain, use 0, 0. You plug 0, 0 in there, it will not be a true statement because that is not one of the sides of the point that's a solution. We'll prove that. Well, 4 times 0 minus 21 is greater than 1. Well, that is left with negative 21 greater than 1. No, that's not true. So that's why 0, 0 is not a solution. You have to shade above the line. Let's go ahead and do a word problem. Definitely a little bit longer video. You're going to write an inequality for this situation. Sabrina is decorating her bedroom. She has $300 to spend on paint and bed linens. She has $300 to spend. That's her max amount. So she has to spend less than or equal to $300. A gallon of paint costs $14. So that's $14 per gallon. And a set of bed linens costs $60. So that's $60 for bed linens using B. There's your inequality. You just wrote it. We're done. Now, how many gallons of paint bed linens can she buy? Well, that's when you're just going to plug in numbers and try it out. So you could try out like maybe 4 gallons of paint. And, if you can go to 300, let's do 3 bed linen sets. And see if when you work that out, does it say less than 300? If it does, that's a possible answer. Remember, there's numerous answers to these inequalities. If she has a lot of money left over, you could up one of these, increase your gallons of paint or increase your bed linen sets. But you work it out and see, is it going to stay less than 300? And if we do this, 4 times 4 is 16, and then 1 times 4 is 4. I'm sorry, plus 1 is 5. I'm trying to do that without writing it out. So we've got 56 plus 180. Write that right. And when you add that together, that's going to stay less than 300. So you can increase one of these options. All right. All right, we got one more thing to show you. I apologize for this being a little bit longer video. You are going to see this on your assignment too. They're going to give you an inequality, and they're going to give you several ordered pairs. You have to determine which of these ordered pairs are solutions to this inequality. You have to circle the ones that are solutions. What I recommend doing first, you can do a number of things. You can plug each one in and work them out and see which ones are true statements, or you can graph the line and see which side includes those points. So if we plug them in, you get 2 times 2 minus 3 times 3 less than or equal to 1. I just used that point. Then you would work that out. You get 4 minus 9 less than or equal to 1. 4 minus 9 is negative 5. Is that less than or equal to 1? It is. So there's a solution. I'll keep that circled because that's one of our possible answers. And you could do that again with 3, 1, 0, 0, 0, negative 1, and 5, 3, and determine which ones are going to remain answers. If I do the 3, 1, 2 times 3 minus 3 times 1 less than or equal to 1, this would be 6 minus 3 less than or equal to 1. 6 minus 3 is 3. Is 3 less than or equal to 1? No. So this is not a solution. And you would just continue that through all your points. And like I said, the other way is to graph it and see which side those points fall in. That should cover your lesson. See you in class.